So, this video is about we, as people with autism, need to show the world that people with autism have value. Now you may say, Bill, that's kind of redundant. We do have value, we're human beings. True! But people often talk about us in ways that make us feel less than human. They'll say, well, you know, I wish you wouldn't do this, or I wish you wouldn't do that. Okay, yeah, fine. We know what you don't like us doing, or you wish we didn't do specific things, or weren't, you know, the way we are, or whatever. We need to show people our value, because we do have value, more than just being human beings, or being members of our family, or members of our respective communities. We need to show people that people with autism can be contributing members to their communities, to the people around them, and to the world at large. I do not see autism as a big barrier. Yes, it can be frustrating. Yes, it's not as simple as A, B, C, and D and we can get it done. But we have to show the worth of people with autism by action. We have to show we can do things. That we are people who can get out and do more than people thought we could. Don't ever let somebody say, well, that can't be done because you have autism. That has to be one of the few untrue statements that I always think people with autism should prove wrong. Saying you can't do it because you have autism is just a dumb statement, as I've said in other videos now. I, growing up, was told I would never do things. Never in a million years would I. Walk? Okay, it took me forever to learn how to walk. Oh, you'll never talk. Hello, Doc. He'll never learn how to ride a bike. Sure, that took me a bit longer than most people, but I got around to it. Oh, he'll never get out of it, graduate high school. Yoo-hoo, graduating from Mission High in 2000. Well, you'll never be able to live on your own, or with a roommate. Look at me now, okay? Really? So these people start putting down this list of the impossibles. Okay, sure, it might be impossible for me to, walk on the moon. Be fun, but it might be impossible. But a lot of the things people say are impossible are not impossible. And for people to sit there and say, well, you can't do that. Well, okay, sure, there are rules and things that we can't do because they're not lawful. I'm all for obeying the law and stuff. But when people say, you can't do that because you have autism, that frustrates me. Especially if we haven't been given a chance to try. I don't know how many times I've been told, you can't do something because we say you can't. But we're not going to give you the opportunity to try. Oh, you're not going to give me the opportunity to try, but I can't do it because you won't give me the chance to try. That becomes a circular loop of stupidity. Pardon the word stupidity there, but it is. It's an endless loop of, you can't because we say you can't, but we won't give you the chance to try. No. I know people with autism that write great books. In fact, I know several authors who are self-published who are autism authors. That's a goal of mine eventually, but that may take a bit. I know people with autism who can play beautiful music in concerts. I know people with autism who can, they can tell you every bus route in their city and how they get from point A to point B in the quickest time and with the least bit of hassles. I know people with autism who make great tourist guides. They know their entire place they live like the back of their hands. I mean, I know people with autism who do amazing things. There are so many I could think of, and they all flood into my head at once. People with autism who know how to make great videos. They know how to inspire others. I mean, they know how to be good leaders and good mentors and friends. I mean, it's amazing. Well, you get these things that people just don't think about sometimes. It's like, oh, they have autism, here's their limits. Yes, okay, there are set limits for people with autism. Mind you, I think those set limits are flexible one way or another sometimes. Most of the time, actually. I should never say some of the time. Most of the time, they're flexible. There are a few hard and fast ones, but those hard and fast ones we can mitigate by modifying how we do things. We, as people with autism, need to show the world we are people of value by speaking up, by speaking for ourselves, by saying, don't ignore us. Don't assume things about us without getting to know us. I mean, there's nothing more frustrating than having people assume they know something about people with autism without ever getting to know somebody with autism. That's just insane in my mind. I mean, yeah, okay, I understand the medical bit says A, B, C, and D about autism spectrum, and it is a spectrum. I mean, there's the low functioners, the high functioners, the classical autistics. But the limits of people put on us aren't always the true limits. Well, my kid is nonverbal. Well, yes, but what can your kid do? You know, is there a way you can find that they can communicate? I mean, it's very insulting to sit there and say, well, because somebody's nonverbal, they're not smart. That's absolutely not true. I know people who are so-called nonverbal who can give me more information about what they want in life because they can type it out than not. Yes, you have to teach skills like this. You have to teach some skills. You have to teach them how to do things. And that's important. You have to teach yourself and learn how to do things sometimes. And it takes longer than normal. But it is doable. We need people to listen to us a lot. Because if they don't listen to us, how do they know what we want? I mean, if you're going to assume that because I have autism, I don't want what everyone else wants, you're mistaken. Sure, some of the things everyone else wants may not be realistic at times, or may be harder to get to. And I use that term realistic with a grain of salt on it. It's not realistic unless I find a way to get to it by a means other than the usual way. Yes, will we always succeed at what we try to do? No. But I don't know anybody who succeeds at everything they try to do. You know, if I did, I would introduce you to the person in a video or, you know, put their name up on Facebook because that's amazing. To say that somebody always succeeds at everything they try. Well, yes, we don't succeed at everything we try, but we keep trying. Why do you keep trying if you keep hitting brick walls? Because we have places we want to go in life and people we want to be. And I cannot stress that we matter as people. We are not, as some people see us, as just autism. That was one of the weirdest conversations I got into recently. We're just people, we're just autism. We're people who live with autism and we're nothing more. We are not something to be prodded and used as a guinea pig. Sure, you know, if you're a medical expert and you want to study people with autism, go right ahead. But at some point that gets old for those of us with autism. Because at some point it's like, okay, are we people or are we just lab rats? And we don't like the feeling of being lab rats. Sure, you want to know everything about the autistic mind in the scientific sense, and we understand that to a grand extent. But at some point, we get tired of it, because it seems to make us people of less value than people who don't have autism. Yes, sure, you want to understand it. You want to see what causes it to happen, if you can fix some of the problems that come with autism. Sure, I understand that need, that goal, that want. But you need to see us as people, too, and understand that we get a little tired of being told, here, take this medicine to keep your hyperactivity down. Sure, it's not always good to be hyperactive, and sure, we should take our medications as told when we need to, but we don't like this constant giving us medications, constantly trying treatments. We're people. We're not your personal little things to go and say, hey, does this pill work for you? Does this pill work for you? Does this pill work for you? At some point it's like, okay, person here, I am a person. Yes, I have something called autism, and yes, you may want to study what it does over my entire lifetime. But boiling me down to a set of statistics and a set of, here's just what the autism is, doesn't help me in my life. People with autism matter. We need, like I said earlier, to speak out, to speak up, to be heard, to be included in conversations. I understand the need for some people to say, well, we want to find a cure for autism. I don't like that talk. I'll tell you right now, I really don't like that talk. I understand why some people like that. I do understand it. I don't like it. Personally. I understand why, but I don't like it personally. I don't care about a cure. I'm here and now. And I want acceptance for people with autism. I want people with autism to have lives that make them happy and content and do things. And I'm not altogether convinced that autism is quote-unquote curable. Is it manageable? Yes. Can the way it affects somebody's life change? Yes. But do I think there's a magic pill or a magic shot out there or a magic treatment that'll just make it snap and poof and go away? I really don't. And I apologize to those of you who think that there is and you're watching this video. I understand that you see things differently than me. Which is frankly amazing, because I've been told people with autism don't understand that people see things differently than they do. This is a skill I had to learn, because at one time I would have never been able to understand why you felt that way. But it's a skill I learned, and it shows I can learn and modify and grow. I'm for acceptance. I'm for being the best person you can be with autism. My idea of the best life for somebody with autism is to get to their maximum potential as a person. And to do that, we have to be able to follow our dreams and our goals and our, what we want with our lives. I don't see that people with autism are a defect or a mistake. I don't frankly believe that. I don't think that anyone who is born is a mistake, quote unquote. Okay, yes, I can understand the frustrations of living with a child with severe autism who doesn't speak, who throws tantrums all day, who hits walls. I can understand why that's frustrating. I've met people who deal with that, and I can sympathize with them. Yes, this is somebody with autism who has sympathy. If you don't believe it, come and message me on Facebook or whatnot, because yes, I have sympathy. I understand why these people would like it if their kid was talkative and not always banging and hitting the walls. And you want to find people who can help them get there. But you also have to see those people as human beings, not something for science just to experiment on. I've learned to overcome some of my challenges. Well, not overcome, but deal with. Overcoming is a different kind of word for me. I like dealing with. I like dealing with because dealing with is easier. Some of my challenges are less than they were before. Some of them don't limit me anymore. But sometimes they do reappear at times. They don't just disappear because I've learned how to deal and manage with them. But it is doable to deal and manage with stuff. And people say, well, that's all good and well. But it is what is possible. My life, the life of other people I know with autism, show what is possible for people with autism. And I say to people with autism out there, don't let anybody put you down. Don't let anybody say it's not doable, it's not possible, it's not grand. Because your life is your life. Yes, you may need other people to help you in this life. You may need supports in this life. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. But it's your life nonetheless. It's your life. No matter how frustrating it is, no matter how messy it is. I understand. Life is very messy with autism. Doesn't matter. In a way, it's your life. Speak up. Make sure your voice is heard. Make sure people know what your goals are, your dreams are. Find people who will help you get to those dreams. A lot of the time that's your parents. But find other people too. Find people who will support you, who will care for you, who will help you reach those dreams and goals and make the best life possible for you. But don't ever let anybody put you down and say it's impossible. It's just not doable. Because that isn't who we are.